You've been here before, your heart racing, your breath shallow, words said you can't take back, or grief pulling you into silence. Marcus Aurelius was not immune to emotion. He lived through war, plague, betrayal, and taught. You cannot stop the storm, but you can stop yourself from becoming the storm. We often think of Stoicism as the elimination of emotion, faces of stone, hearts unmoved. This misunderstanding has persisted for centuries, creating the false impression that to practice Stoicism is to suppress feeling. But Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, and perhaps history's most famous Stoic, offers us something far more nuanced and powerful. In his private journal, known to us as Meditations, he reveals a philosophy not of emotional suppression, but of emotional mastery. Today, we'll explore how this ruler, who faced war, plague, betrayal, and the constant pressure of governing an empire, developed a system for living with emotions without being ruled by them. We'll discover how his approach can help us navigate our own inner storms with grace. If you are distressed by anything external, Marcus writes, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. The Stoic view of emotion begins with a profound insight. Emotions are not just feelings that happen to us. They are judgments we make about the world. They arise from how we interpret events, not from the events themselves. Imagine two people caught in the same rainstorm. One is frustrated, thinking, "This weather has ruined my plans." The other is joyful, thinking, "What wonderful nourishment for the gardens." The rain is the same. The emotional experience is entirely different. Marcus continues, "Take away your opinion about what seems painful, and you yourself stand in perfect security. Who is this self? The reason. But I am not reason. Be it so. Let the reason itself not trouble itself." This perspective forms the foundation of Stoic emotional resilience. It doesn't tell us to suppress our emotions or pretend they don't exist. Instead, it encourages us to recognize that emotions flow from our judgments, and judgments can be examined. Of all emotions, anger received special attention from Marcus. He understood its destructive power, both to ourselves and others. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it, he observes. When we are filled with rage, we often react to the first impression that strikes us. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and we immediately judge, "This person disrespected me. They're a terrible driver. They deserve my anger." But Marcus advises us to pause. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, "I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil." This isn't about excusing harmful behavior. Rather, it's about seeing the fuller picture. The person who acts poorly does so out of their own ignorance or pain. Their actions tell us about their state, not necessarily about our worth. Marcus doesn't simply say, "Don't be angry." Instead, he guides us to observe anger, to ask what triggered it, and to examine what belief lies underneath. Often, he notes, anger is rooted in ego, the wish for control, for praise, for things to go exactly as we planned. He offers practical advice. "When thou art troubled about anything, thou hast forgotten this, that all things happen according to the universal nature. And further, thou hast forgotten this, that a man's wrongful act is nothing to thee." By stepping back from anger, we gain perspective. We see that what seemed like a personal attack is often not about us at all. We recognize that our anger, while perhaps justified in the moment, rarely serves us well in the long run. Fear is the anticipation of future pain. Anxiety is the hum of worry that pervades our daily living. Both were as familiar to the ancient Romans as they are to us. Marcus lived under constant threat, military challenges at the borders, political rivals at home, and the immense responsibility of leadership. Yet he found a way to center himself through reason. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This insight is the key to addressing fear. We cannot control the future, but we can control how we prepare for it, how we think about it, and how we respond to its arrival. Marcus asks us, "Am I afraid of death because I will no longer be able to do this?" He answers, "Begin doing that now, while you are alive, and you will have nothing to fear." He encourages us to question our anxieties. What is there really to fear? The thing itself, or your opinion about the thing? Often, we discover that what we fear is not the event itself, but our anticipation of it. The pain exists in projection, in imagination. Today I have got out of all trouble, or rather I have cast out all trouble, for it was not outside, but within and in my opinions. Marcus reminds us to focus on the present moment. Do not disturb thyself by thinking of the whole of thy life. Let not thy thoughts at once embrace all the various troubles which thou mayest expect to befall thee. But on every occasion ask thyself, what is there in this which is intolerable and past bearing? By bringing our attention to the present, we often find that what seems overwhelming and abstract becomes manageable in reality. The meditations were written, in part, as Marcus processed various losses. We know he lost children. He watched friends die. He witnessed the toll of plague and war. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight, he writes. The Stoic approach to grief is not to deny its reality or suppress its expression. Instead, it acknowledges loss while placing it within the broader context of existence. You could leave life right now, Marcus reminds himself. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This awareness of mortality isn't meant to be grim or morbid. Rather, it's a clarifying force that helps us value what we have while we have it. It prepares us for the inevitable partings that life entails. Marcus offers this perspective on the deaths of others. Short is the little which remains to thee of life. Live as on a mountain, for it makes no difference whether a man lives there or here, if he lives everywhere in the world as in a state, political community. Let men see, let them know a real man who lives according to nature. If they cannot endure him, let them kill him, for that is better than to live thus, as men do. This isn't cold indifference to suffering. It's a recognition that life continues its flow despite our losses, and that our grief is natural, but need not define us forever. By accepting the temporary nature of all relationships, we can cherish them more deeply while they last. Our desires can drive us relentlessly, always seeking more wealth, more recognition, more pleasure, more of everything. Marcus recognized this tendency in himself and in those around him. Very little is needed to make a happy life, he writes. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The Stoic approach to desire isn't to eliminate wants, but to examine them critically. Which desires serve our true nature? Which ones pull us away from peace and virtue? Marcus asks us to consider, how many of the things I have longed for have I failed to attain, yet I continue to live a tranquil life? He provides this practice. Ask thyself about every present desire. What advantage is there in its fulfillment? How long will this pleasure last? By questioning our desires, we gain freedom from them. We can choose which to pursue and which to set aside. We discover that many desires, once examined, reveal themselves as unnecessary to our happiness. Let the part of your soul that leads and governs be undisturbed by the movements in the flesh, whether of pleasure or of pain, and let it not unite with them, but let it circumscribe itself and limit those effects to their parts. Marcus doesn't call for the elimination of pleasure or the pursuit of pain. Instead, he advocates for a balanced relationship with our desires, one where we can enjoy what comes without becoming enslaved to the endless pursuit of more. Throughout the meditations, Marcus returns to the concept of right reason as our guide. But what does he mean by this? The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, he writes. Reason in the Stoic sense isn't cold calculation or emotional detachment. It's clear seeing, the ability to perceive reality without distortion from our fears, desires, or biases. It's the choice to respond to situations based on wisdom rather than impulse. Marcus doesn't suggest we replace emotion with logic. Rather, he encourages us to let reason guide our emotional responses. We feel grief, but reason helps us process it. We feel anger, but reason helps us channel it constructively. We feel desire, but reason helps us discern which desires align with our values. If thou art pained by any external thing, he advises, it is not this that disturbs thee, but thy own judgment about it, and it is in thy power to wipe out this judgment now. This isn't about controlling emotions through force of will. It's about recognizing that many emotional reactions stem from judgments we've made, often unconsciously. By bringing awareness to these judgments, we can transform our emotional experience. Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. The image isn't of a promontory that stops the waves from coming. That would be impossible. Instead, it stands firm amidst the waves, neither fighting them nor being destroyed by them. So how do we apply Marcus Aurelius's approach to emotional mastery in our daily lives? Start by labeling what you feel. When a wave of emotion arises, name it. Say to yourself, this is anger, this is fear. That simple act creates space between you and the feeling. Then, question the story behind the emotion. Ask, what narrative am I telling myself that's creating this reaction? More often than not, it's not the event itself. It's the story we've constructed around it. Next, give yourself a pause before responding. Marcus advises, let no act be done without a purpose. That moment of stillness allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Shift your perspective. Ask, how important will this feel in a month, a year, 5 years? Many emotions lose their grip when placed in the wider frame of time. And finally, keep a simple emotional journal. At the end of the day, ask, which emotion ruled me today? Why? By tracking these patterns, we gain insight into our triggers and begin to free ourselves from them. The goal isn't to eliminate emotion, Marcus himself felt deeply, but to develop a healthier relationship with our emotional lives. As he reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for publication or fame. His meditations were private reflections, a conversation with himself. This gives them an authenticity and practicality that transcends the centuries. His approach to emotion offers us a middle path, neither suppressing our feelings nor being ruled by them. He shows us that we can acknowledge the full spectrum of human emotion while maintaining inner stability. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly," he writes. But then he continues, "They are like this because they can't tell good from bad. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of bad, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly," he writes. But then he continues, "They are like this because they can't tell good from bad. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of bad, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." Mastering your emotions begins with understanding them. But what about the noise of others, the opinions, praise, blame, and chaos of the world? Next, we explore how Marcus Aurelius remained free of external influence, how he kept his soul untangled from the drama of others.